Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has died at 96 years old. Buckingham Palace issued a statement saying the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral, her home in Scotland. CBS's Ian Lee looks back at her incredible life.
Even into her 90s, Queen Elizabeth II kept up her royal duties. She became the longest reigning monarch in British history in 2015.
Inevitably, a long life can pass by many milestones. My own is no exception.
Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor was not in line to be queen, but in 1936, the 10-year-old princess nicknamed Lilibet was put on the fast track after her uncle, King Edward VIII, abdicated to marry an American divorcee. Elizabeth's father became King George VI, and Elizabeth became
All right, we're having some trouble with that obituary. We'll try to get back to that. The Queen's successor is, of course, Charles, her son, her oldest son. The palace says the King and Queen will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. Well, former CNN anchor Bernard Shaw has also died. Shaw's family announced in a statement today he died of pneumonia unrelated to COVID-19 yesterday. He was 82 years old. Shaw was CNN's first chief anchor and was with the network when it launched on June 1st, 1980. He retired from CNN after more than 20 years in February 2001. During his storied career, Shaw reported on some of the biggest stories of that time, including the student revolt in Tiananmen Square in China in May 1989, the first Gulf War live from Baghdad in 1991, and the 2000 presidential election. That year, Shaw also was the moderator at the vice presidential debate at Centre College in Danville.
Weather-wise, a beautiful day around the mountains today. Low humidity and plenty of sunshine, and that looks to continue right on through tonight with quiet weather expected as we finish out our Thursday. Things look to change, though, to finish out the work week. Here's a look from our Buffalo Mountain camera in southern Perry County. Upper 70s to near 80, the current reading. As you see, just fair weather clouds out there, blue skies. Otherwise, a clean sweep on Pinpoint Doppler. Though not too far away, we do have a couple of small, spotty downpours going up just to the east of our area in southwest Virginia. We'll continue to keep an eye on those. Those could try to sneak into places like Pike, Letcher, and Hartland counties, but not expecting too much in the way of any rain that's on the heavy side. Temperatures around the region, upper 70s to near 80. Very, very comfortable throughout the region. There's that latest update moving in. Mid-70s in some other spots. Dew points are in the low 60s and upper 50s, so it feels a whole lot more fall-like out there right now. And we'll continue to see things on the quiet side tonight. Upper 70s as we head through the 5 o'clock hour, into the 60s by this evening, and into the mid-60s as we head for the 2 o'clock hour tonight. I'll have the details, though, on when we could see a return to showers and if any of them could be on the heavy side coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. The Biden administration announced it plans to spend more than $2 billion to supply more weapons to Ukraine in its fight against Russia, as well as money to help European partners ahead of a potentially dark winter. CBS's Skylar Henry has more on that from the White House.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Ukraine on an unannounced trip which included a meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky. Blinken also announced the president has authorized an additional $675 million in military weapons for Ukraine. The administration is also asking Congress to authorize $2.2 billion in further aid for Ukraine and European partners. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin met with his European counterparts to ensure their continued support for Ukraine.
Ukrainian forces have begun their counteroffensive in the south of their country, and they are integrating the capabilities that we all have provided to help themselves to fight and reclaim their sovereign territory.
President Biden also held a call with European allies to make sure they continue to stand by Ukraine and to announce American support for them as they could face a bleak winter. European Union officials are proposing to put a cap on the price of oil and gas coming from Russia.
The objective is we must cut Russia's revenues which Putin uses to finance his atrocious war in Ukraine.
Europe imports about 40% of its gas and 30% of its oil from Russia. But Putin is threatening to cut off that supply entirely if they put the cap in place. That prompted NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg to warn of violence in the streets as Europeans struggle to pay higher prices for gas and food. He wrote in the Financial Times, "We face a difficult 6 months with the threat of energy cuts, disruptions, and perhaps even civil unrest. But we must stay the course and stand up to tyranny for Ukraine's sake in 4 hours." Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
New British Prime Minister Liz Truss announced her government will spend tens of billions of pounds to freeze gas and electricity rates for 2 years in a move to keep British citizens from paying more. Police say they arrested the second suspect involved in the recent stabbings in Canada, but he died in custody. They say a tip led to the arrest of Miles Sanderson in Saskatchewan yesterday afternoon. They say he was alone in a stolen white truck with a knife. Police did not reveal the cause of death, but said they provided medical care at the scene. Officials say Miles and his brother Damien, who was found dead Monday, were suspected of killing 10 people and injuring 18 more in a stabbing spree Sunday night that spanned through 13 separate crime scenes. Most of the victims were from the indigenous community of the James Smith Cree Nation. Coming up on First at 4, vacationers and residents in Florida are sounding the alarm about the rate of beach erosion.
Plus, dry right now, but more rain and storms loom in the forecast. The latest details on the way after this.